Okay, just think for a moment what really makes you find someone attractive. I mean, yeah, physical stuff comes to mind first, right? A nice smile, maybe their eyes.
Sure, those things matter.
But what if we go a bit deeper? Could something like, just basic kindness actually change how beautiful we think someone is?
That's exactly the question, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it's at the core of these 10 studies we've been looking at. Really fascinating stuff. Over 4,000 people involved.
Wow, 10 studies.
Yeah, and we're diving into how pro-social behavior, things like cooperating, being kind, just actions that benefit other people,
Yeah.
how that seems to affect how we see someone physically, their attractiveness.
Right. So that's our mission for this deep dive, really, to figure out this pretty surprising link, how being genuinely good can actually make someone seem more beautiful to us. And these studies, they weren't just one type, right? They looked at real online chats, different made-up scenarios, even compared kindness to, like, intelligence or humor.
Exactly. A real mix to get a good handle on it. It gives us a fresh way to think about, well, why we connect with people.
Okay, so let's get straight to it then. What's the big headline finding from all this research?
Well, the headline, and it's pretty consistent across all 10 studies, is actually quite striking.
Yeah.
Individuals who were shown or described as being pro-social,
Right.
they were just consistently rated as more physically beautiful.
Consistently across all 10.
Yep, pretty clear signal.
Okay, so let's unpack that. It's not just a general warm, fuzzy feeling, is it? They actually measured a difference in attractiveness ratings.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. They measured it. People found the helpful, kind individuals measurably more attractive. So the question becomes why? What's going on there?
Right. What's the mechanism? How does being nice translate into looking better?
Well, the main theory, the one they're leaning towards, is something called motivated cognition.
Motivated cognition.
Yeah.
Okay.
Basically, it means our own desires, our motivations, can actually influence how we perceive the world, including other people. In this case, we want to connect with pro-social people, right? They're good allies, good friends.
Makes sense. We like cooperative people.
Exactly. And that motivation, that desire to affiliate with them, it subtly shapes our perception, making them seem more physically appealing. We see them as more beautiful because we're motivated to connect.
Huh. So it's almost like our brain gives a little visual bonus to people we think would be good to have around.
That's a great way to put it, yeah. Like maybe think about when you're really hungry and that apple across the room suddenly looks extra red and juicy, maybe even closer than it is. It's a similar kind of perceptual nudge driven by motivation.
I like the analogy. Okay, so this wasn't just theoretical. You mentioned real-world scenarios. Tell me about one of those studies.
Right, so study one, they called it the Zoom study. Participants actually interacted with each other online, video calls.
Right, so many interactions now.
Exactly. And those people who, during the conversation, mentioned doing pro-social things like volunteering, helping someone out, they were later rated as more beautiful by the people they just chatted with.
Wow. So it happened even in a brief virtual interaction, not just reading a description.
Precisely. It shows it's not just an abstract idea. It can play out in, well, real-time social evaluation.
That is powerful. Now, what about gender? Attractiveness discussions often bring that up. Did this prosociality beauty link work differently for men and women?
Ah, good question. Studies 2A and 2B tackled that directly.
Yeah.
The finding was pretty clear. The effect works for both men and women.
Meaning?
Meaning pro-social men were seen as more attractive, pro-social women were seen as more attractive, and it didn't matter if the person doing the reading was male or female. The effect held across the board.
Interesting. So it's not just about, say, men looking for kind potential mates or women doing the same. It's broader.
That's what it suggests, yeah. It points towards something more fundamental about wanting to be around cooperative, trustworthy individuals, regardless of gender or specific relationship goals. It pushes back a bit against a purely mate selection-focused evolutionary explanation.
So it taps into our general social wiring, maybe.
Seems like it. And study 3 took it another step. They looked at whether this beauty boost had any, real-world bite.
Okay, how'd they test that?
They had participants evaluate people, described as pro-social or not, for jobs where looks are often seen as a plus. Think maybe brand ambassador or certain front-of-house roles.
Right, where appearance is sometimes part of the job description, unfortunately or not.
Exactly. And guess what? The pro-social individuals were rated as more suitable for those jobs.
Get out, really. So being seen as kind could actually help someone get a job where looks are valued.
That's what the data suggests. It implies this isn't just some fleeting perception. It can have tangible consequences, like influencing hiring decisions.
Wow. Okay, shifting gears slightly. What about consistency? Does, like, one single good deed have the same impact as being known as a generally helpful person?
Study 4 looks right at that.
Mm-hmm.
They compared reactions to someone described as, say, regularly volunteering versus someone who just did one helpful thing, like helping someone pick up dropped papers, versus a control.
Uh-huh.
And the consistent prosocial behavior, the regular volunteering, had a much stronger positive effect on how beautiful they were rated compared to just the single act.
That makes a lot of sense, actually.
It does, right. It suggests we're not just reacting to the action itself, but we're inferring something about the person's character.
Hmm?
We value consistency. We're looking for reliable niceness, you could say.
A reliable indicator of good character, not just a fluke. Okay, now you mentioned earlier they compared being kind to other good traits, like being smart or funny. How did prosociality stack up?
Yeah, Study 5 did that head-to-head comparison. They used a scenario, I think it was a hypothetical student body election. And candidates were described primarily by one trait, either prosocial, intelligent, or humorous. Then participants rated their physical attractiveness.
And the kind candidate.
The kind candidate was rated as significantly more physically attractive than both the intelligent one and the funny one.
Great. More attractive than the smart one and the funny one, just based on being described as kind.
That's what they found. It's pretty remarkable, isn't it?
Yeah.
It suggests that, at least in this context, prosociality carries a unique weight in how we perceive physical appeal, maybe more than raw intelligence or humor.
That really says something about what we might subconsciously value most in others, doesn't it? Maybe that signal of trustworthiness or cooperation is just incredibly potent.
It seems that way, perhaps because it directly relates to how someone might treat us or contribute positively to a group, whereas intelligence or humor, while great, don't necessarily send the same direct signal about interpersonal intentions.
Okay, so kindness boosts beauty ratings. But what if someone has, a minor physical flaw, like a scar or a mole? Does being seen as kind help us overlook that?
Study 6 looked into exactly that. Really clever design. They showed people pictures, some with tiny imperfections, digitally added a small scar, a mole, things like that.
Subtle things.
Yes, subtle. And they paired these images with either a prosocial description or just a neutral one. Then, later, they asked participants to recall details about the faces, including imperfections.
And what happened with the prosocially described faces?
People were significantly less likely to recall or mention the imperfections if the person had been described as prosocial.
So the kindness description literally made the flaw less noticeable or memorable.
It seems so. It's like the positive social information created a kind of filter, directing attention away from minor physical imperfections. It really supports that motivated cognition idea. We want to see the good person positively, maybe even smoothing over little flaws in our mind's eye.
Our brains are kind of airbrushing the nice people for us.
Huh. Maybe a little bit, yeah. Now, this is where it gets really interesting, I think, in terms of nailing down why this happens. Studies 7 and 8 started playing with the actual possibility of forming a relationship.
Oh, manipulating the social context? How?
Okay, Study 7 set up this scenario with a Netflix club. Participants were told about a potential new member described as either prosocial or not.
Right.
But here's the key. They also manipulated whether participants felt they had shared interests with this person. So basically, high likelihood of becoming friends versus low likelihood.
So making the potential relationship seem more or less feasible or desirable.
Exactly. And the prosociality beauty effect. It was strong when people thought, hey, we might become friends. High motivation. But when the motivation was low, when they didn't share interests, the effect almost vanished.
Wow. Okay, that is a huge clue. The beauty boost depends on whether we think we might actually connect with the person.
It really points that way. It's not just a vague, kind people look nicer halo effect. It seems tied to the potential for affiliation.
And Study 8 did something similar.
Yep, mirrored it in a work setting. Participants imagined a new colleague, again, either prosocial or not. And the manipulation was whether this new person would be joining their team, high relationship feasibility, or a totally different team they wouldn't interact with, much low feasibility.
And same result.
Same pattern. The prosocial colleague was rated as much more attractive when they were joining your team, but the effect was significantly weaker if they were going to be on a separate team.
So when that person's kindness might actually benefit you directly, or you'll be interacting with them regularly, that's when the motivated perception really kicks in and makes them seem more attractive.
Precisely. It strongly suggests the beauty enhancement is driven by our motivation to form and maintain positive social bonds, rather than just a general spillover effect from any positive trait. It really bolsters that motivated cognition theory.
That makes the whole picture much clearer. And just to wrap up the evidence, they crunched all the numbers together. A meta-analysis.
They did. An internal meta-analysis across these 10 studies, plus I think 3 others, they didn't detail as much. It statistically combined all the results.
And confirmed the effect.
Confirmed it. A significant, robust overall effect of prosociality on beauty evaluations.
Right.
It gives a lot of statistical weight to the idea that this connection is real and consistent.
Okay. So, for everyone listening, let's boil this down. The big insight here is pretty profound. Being perceived as prosocial kind, helpful, cooperative, genuinely makes people see you as more physically beautiful. And it's not just surface level. It seems driven by this deep-seated human desire we have to connect with people who are good to be around.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It really hammers home that attractiveness is so much more than just, facial symmetry or clear skin. Our character, specifically our kindness towards others, plays a really powerful role in how beautiful we appear.
So what's the practical takeaway for you listening to this?
Well, I mean, one obvious thing is that choosing to act prosocially, it doesn't just make the world a slightly better place for others.
Right.
It might also subtly, maybe unconsciously, influence how positively others perceive you, even on a physical level. That's kind of a fascinating two-way street.
Yeah, a win-win almost. Good for them, potentially good for how you're seen.
Indeed. And it makes you think, doesn't it, about the broader implications.
How so?
Well, think about this effect in all sorts of contexts. Forming friendships? Sure. Romantic relationships? Definitely. But also, like, teamwork in the office, community building, maybe even how we view public figures.
You mean if we valued and highlighted prosocial behavior more as a society?
Could it lead to a world that we perceive as, well, more beautiful in multiple ways? Not just ethically, but maybe even aesthetically, in how we see each other. It's definitely something to mull over, how this link between inner goodness and outer perception shapes our social world.